In this video, we're following along with Denny George as he digs out his newest, greatest project, a 38 Ford Deluxe Coupe. Now, if you watch my video about Denny's collection, then you already know that he's got a bunch of cool hot rods and four-wheel drive trucks and just cool stuff everywhere. He's probably got close to 100 cars if you count all the parts cars and things like that, but he's always looking for new projects, and that's always his favorite project, is when he finds a new one. So he invited me and my dad as he came to drag it out of its hole and get it ready to take to his shop and start working on it. But I want to show you guys this car because this thing has been sitting for no telling how long.
I can't believe all four wheels is rolling.
As we can see here, it's really rusty. You know, it's partially disassembled. It's a little rough around the edges, but Denny has definitely started with worse. And, you know, he's going to make something cool out of it. And as we make our way around it, you can see that this thing is rusty. It's just barely hanging together. You can see the hood sides aren't latched. The fenders are just floppy. They're not actually bolted on there very good. The hood's just laying there. You know, there's a lot left to be desired with the body on this car, but when you actually start looking at the metal itself, it's pretty solid. I mean, it definitely needs some patch panels and some metal work, no doubt about it, but it's really not that bad of a car. And, you know, the fenders are on the inside. Those need a little bit of work, but they'll bolt right on there. And for what Denny intends to do with this thing, it's going to look just fine. It's going to be, I hate to use the word rat rod, but he's planning on leaving it rusty. He's going to put it over probably on some kind of different frame, maybe a S10 frame, not real sure yet. But that's kind of the plan, is to swap this body over to a frame that already runs and drives. So, you know, this old frame that's under here, it's worth noting that somebody had started a little hot rod project. When you look underneath, you'll see a 55 through 57 Chevy rear end housing under here. Now, it's actually held in place with some rebar, and I'm hoping that that was just a temporary thing to kind of let whoever was building this car, you know, maybe it was to let them set up the leaf springs or something like that, just so the thing could roll around. Not sure, but I don't think I've ever seen rebar used as suspension items. So the thing that caught my eye right off the bat were these rear wheels. These are aluminum Keystones. Now, when you think about Keystone, or at least when I think about Keystone, you know, those were just a very cheap wheel back in the 70s. Not something that would last very long. The chrome would start peeling, it'd start rusting. You know, those wheels just didn't hold up for very long. But these Keystones are actually aluminum, and they're fairly rare. I mean, you don't run across them all that often. They got different tires on each side. Both tires are just completely rotten. They've been sitting here for probably 30 years or more. And you can also notice up front, there's actually a chrome reverse wheel with a Meteor white wall tire mounted to it. So again, little hot rod touches here and there. You can see on the quarter windows, it's got Raybestos brake lining decals on the windows. I thought that was kind of cool. It's not really a hot rod thing, but it's still kind of a cool piece that's kind of almost faded into history. But as we look inside the car, you can see that the dash has actually been modified. This is not a factory 38 Ford dash. It would have originally had two round holes for the gauges, but instead somebody has installed an aftermarket gauge cluster. So you can see it's got a speedometer, it's got a temperature gauge, looks like maybe an oil pressure gauge, I can't tell. It's in like a cast aluminum or maybe a pot metal bezel that mounts to the dash. Just another little detail, you know, things like that really get me going. But you can see it's got a banjo steering wheel, which was popular in the 1930s. It is really rough. I mean, there's not much salvageable with that steering wheel, but it still looks cool. Under the hood, it's actually got a flathead engine, but it's just kind of laying there. It's not in there straight. It's not bolted up or anything. It's just a block sitting in there. But this is an original style flathead V8. I'm sure that it's completely locked up and frozen from sitting out here with absolutely no protection at all. It does have a transmission behind it, an old 3-speed manual transmission, but it's not hooked up to anything. It's just all kind of just laying there. Now, Denny doesn't need new projects. He's got a yard full and a shop full and the woods are full. He's got projects everywhere to keep him busy, but he can't resist a new one. So when this 38 Ford became available, he had to jump on it, and we'll be sure to keep you posted as he makes progress on it. Thank you for watching.